Getting a rejection letter, email, not letter, after you have put in so much work to apply for a job can really sting. But I don't want anyone taking it personally because I have seen this happen a lot in my work as a career coach, and I have been there as well, where I used to take rejection emails personally until I learned a lot about. I learned about these things that I want to share with you. These 5 key things that I want to share with you, and these are the things that you should always keep in mind, and why you shouldn't take rejections personally. And I actually hate the fact that I'm using the word rejection, but honestly speaking, it is what it is. And it's not a bad thing because sometimes it can be a blessing. You just might have dodged the bullet and you don't even realize. So, number one reason why you shouldn't take it personally is because it may have nothing to do with you and they may have chosen to go with an internal candidate. Now, oftentimes it's annoying that companies do this, quite frankly. Like, if you have internal candidates that you're considering, or if you think that there might be internal candidates who might apply, then maybe make it an internal posting first. And then after you don't find anyone internally, you can make it external, or at least make it known that internal candidates are being considered for this role as well, so that people know when they move on. And when you do that, it might help to actually state in your email back that we chose to go with an internal candidate instead. That way, the job seeker doesn't go around thinking that it's something that they did wrong, especially when they know they've done everything humanly possible to position themselves for that opportunity. The second reason is that there can be budget changes that may impact why companies might not go forward with a particular position that they're looking to hire. Again, I have actually been in this place before. During the pandemic, there was a position I applied for, done the phone interview, done the written exercise, done the actual interview. No, I was going to be scheduled for the final interview, really, and then pandemic hit, and they called me to say that they were putting the position on hold because of the pandemic. And after the pandemic, well, I guess, I think about a year later, I got an email that said that they had scrapped that rule because just with the pandemic, they did some restructuring and they no longer needed that rule. I thought that was really neat. Quite frankly, everything in me, like, I still sometimes look in that company's email website to see if there is something that I might be interested in, because that's a company I want to work for. They are very, very compassionate, and that's compassion. Yes, it is compassion. They're compassionate in their approach to and understand how job seekers feel, right? So that's something to put on stick for hiring managers and companies. You're welcome. All right, the third reason is that the company can be restructuring. Again, they can restructure that might not necessarily have anything to do with budget changes, but it might also be budget changes causing the restructuring. Whatever the case, the bottom line is it had nothing to do with you. It's them, it's not you. All right, definitely not you, it's them. All right, then the fourth thing that I want to talk about is cultural fits. Ooh, I can do a whole video on cultural fits and the role that plays in actually positioning you within an organization. You can be the best candidates by every other standard, technically speaking, experience wise, but then hiring managers might prioritize team dynamics over qualifications that might not have anything to do with you. Although I say this very cautiously, because sometimes cultural fit really just means people who look like me. But let's not go there. That's not what this video is about. And then the fifth thing that I want to talk about is timing. Whether or not we like it, truthfully, I think I've shared a couple times how I didn't get a position. I always seek feedback, and I always encourage you to seek feedback after you've applied for a position and you don't get it, especially when you make it through the interview. And the response of the hiring manager to me was, I guess the stars were just not aligned in your favor. I really was upset at the time, but in hindsight, honestly speaking, I'm not upset anymore, because again, if you've heard me share that story, you know that one of the things that I also talk about is how literally 2 weeks from that date, I got another job that was similar role, but higher pay and higher opportunity as well, right? And so the stars really were not aligned in my favor for my own good. And sometimes it is for your own good. Sometimes you literally will dodge a bullet when that happens. And sometimes it might just be that your time had not come, and your time had not come. Things just haven't aligned for you yet. It's something we don't want to hear, but it's something that happens. Now, timing is twofold. The other side to timing is that the position might no longer align in that immediate time with the company's needs. Like the example I shared about the position I applied for and then pandemic hit. There are people who were in similar positions. Organizations were looking to hire, and pandemic hit, and then they had to pause because timing just wasn't right. So timing can be both ways, where it's really just something more divine and supernatural, as it were, but it also can be that something switched in the company's timelines, and the timing of that isn't right. Now, knowing that it's not your fault, what is it that you can do when rejections happen? Instead of taking it personally, number one, reflect. All right, assess your application, assess your interview if you made it to the interview stage, assess the application process, and ask yourself questions on what you could have done better, where you could have improved. If there is an opportunity to reach out to someone within the organization or the hiring manager to seek feedback on your application process, by all means, please do that. Absolutely always do that, as a matter of fact, right? Do that, but assess what you've done so that you know, at least, like, even if it wasn't anything that had to do with you, or even if you were like a really strong candidate, which sometimes you get to say you're really one of the strongest candidates, but we had to go with this other person, then seek to understand what was it about the candidates of choice that made them the most ideal of all of us, right? And you just might find your answer on what you need to do better next time. But even if you can't access anybody, work with a career coach, me, and or a mentor and advisor to understand, to review your process, your application package, and understand what you could have done differently. The second thing you need to do, which is really, 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 really tied to the first, really, is the feedback piece, right? So reflect and then feedback, which I would not say anymore on that because I think I really just rolled them up together. The third thing is stay persistent, all right? You cannot give up because you got a rejection email. You know, one of these days I probably would just do a bit of a rejection pile of jobs that when I was actively looking for work that I had gotten, right? But you don't let that deter you. You don't let that, just again, as long as you're doing number one and two, which is reflecting and seeking feedback, it shouldn't deter you from putting yourself out there. Again, your time will come and it will be good and you would love it. All right. And then the fourth thing I'm going to talk about is that stay joyful and grateful in the process. Honestly speaking, there's always something to be grateful for. Gratitude will get you farther than complaining, than feeling sorry for yourself, finding reasons to be grateful. Be grateful that you're seeing opportunities to even apply for. Be grateful that you have what it takes. Maybe you have the education, the experience. Be grateful. Find a reason to be grateful through the process, and just put good energy out there in the world. All right. So yes, that. And then fifth is continue to refine your process. All right. So when you reflected and you sought feedback, don't just take it and leave it. All right. Put it back into your process and refine your process. Continue refining your skills, apply elsewhere. All right. If you're not geographically bound to a location, expand your geographical location if there's opportunity to do that. And I'm saying if there's opportunity to do that, because for many permanent residents or newcomers to Canada who may have come in like on a provincial nomination, I know there are restrictions with whether or not you can leave a province, and I know there are also ways around that as well. If that's something that you're not able to do, or from other reasons, like even family reasons, not everybody wants to operate their family all the time or that often just because they're looking for a job. But if that's the case, then that's fine. But if you're not bound to a geographical location, then explore other geographical location as well. All right. And remember that rejections are not failures. They're not always a reflection of who you are. Sometimes it really is just a reflection of the company, where they're at, what's going on within them internally. Sometimes rejection can just really be redirection towards the right opportunity. So think about it and change your perspective and change your lens to that and keep moving forward. Your yes is closer than you think. And I really just hope that this helps someone. So keep going, keep shining. I'm ready for you. And we will celebrate your success for sure. Take care now and bye. Oh, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you're watching this on YouTube. Thank you. Bye.